All right, first of all, I got to let you guys know that this podcast is brought to you by Phoenix Fit. Now, if you're into doing fitness, into doing gym, Phoenix Fit, now that's the brand for you. They do everything from supplements to workout clothes to shaker bottles to little packs for all your stuff. So yeah, you can check them out. Head on over to www.fnx, that's the letter F, the letter N, the letter X, fit.com. Pick out what you want. Type in the deep freeze 15 and get yourself 15% off your order right like that. So head on over there. That's fnxfit.com. Promo code the deep freeze 15 and get yourself 15% off your order. Support the podcast. This episode is also brought to you by anchor.com or .fm, sorry. And Anchor FM is that really it's that host. If you're doing a podcast right now or you're thinking about starting a podcast and you're tired of doing the manual distribution, tired of doing all of that, all the editing, all the stitching together, check out anchor.fm. They'll host it. You keep 100% of your creative stake in your podcast. All they do is distribute it, kind of help you stitch it together. They also make it extremely easy to monetize your podcast if you get to that point, if you so choose so. So go to anchor.fm, make an account. You can record right on your phone. You can get a mic set up. You can do whatever you want. Get that hit. Use them. They're great at what they do, and it's going to help grow your podcast. Whew. You hear that fresh sound, huh? Oh, that's a tasty little treat right there, huh? That's that Bud Light. Well, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a grip since we've been here. I'm excited to be back in the seat, excited to be back talking to you guys, getting just excited to be back, man. It was a bit of a hiatus. I think it was like 6 months or something like that. I guess the last time we talked was Corona Cast, which is crazy. Excuse me. So last time we talked was Corona Cast. Not much has changed in the world. Corona's still going on, living and breathing well. I guess lots has changed. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a. Well, this episode is gonna be mainly an update. Okay, this episode is going to be just me talking about where I've been at, what's been going on, kind of where some of the new things that are going on around these parts, and kind of where I've been. So, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody that's going to tune into this. I know it's been a while since I've been on the podcast and been able to post something. So, I know I said it before. I got some really cool stuff coming in the next little while. We're going to be working on a bit of a studio here, so we're going to be getting that all in order and dialed in. So where do I start, man? So I'm going to go into depth as to where I've been in a, I'm going to break it up over the next few episodes, but just to give you guys a little bit of a update and timeline as to where I have been. So I moved again. Now in St. Anne, living with my girlfriend. Been super happy with that. Been super excited with that. Excuse me. Dealing with a little bit of some allergies. Isn't it crazy though? Like people are just allergic to things. Like isn't that wild? Like you're at some point your body just goes I'm out actually. Like I don't like this. It's been this year, man. Like I honestly I've never had I had bad allergies growing up as a kid, but nothing like this. Like I don't think I've had a good nasal day in this entire 2020. Like it's been ridiculous. Can't breathe that. Like, can you hear that? Can you hear that through your little freaking ear holes? That's a non-clear nasal passage. Um, yeah. So I moved. What else have I been getting up to? Oh, me and Dwayne went on an elk trip. We just got back about a week ago. About a week ago. We did been doing that. Um, we had had some family stuff that had to get tended to. And you know I might as well dive into it here. So uh, around March, I started noticing that I was getting a little bit stressed with this podcast and trying to maintain it, and starting the video side of things and learning to do that and learning to do some other things, and then I got to the point where I was honestly felt like I was burning out. I honestly felt like I was just getting to the point where I um wasn't able to put as much effort into it as I would have liked. So I decided to take a little bit of a break. I was not planning on it being this long. However, I was planning on it being a substantial break, I guess, just to clear my mind and get my mind back to where I needed it to be. And it's one thing that I have maybe kept off the podcast. And this is an episode that I will dive into a little more in a future episode, just with dealing with mental health and stuff like that. But I felt like I needed, for my own mental health, needed to take a bit of a break. And I mean, it's not easy to say that you need a mental health break from talking. Like, I don't know, I struggled with it a lot, actually, to be honest. I struggled to comprehend how I needed a mental break from something I enjoyed doing. But anyways, I was getting to the point where I was just getting so stressed about it and getting so almost fed up. Like, I almost didn't want to do it. Like, I was almost losing the enjoyment of it. So I decided to take a little bit of a break, and as I was kind of gearing up to get back into it, and getting myself back in a headspace of getting ready to produce it, and do what I needed to do to get back in the podcast, then we had some family stuff that needed to get taken care of. My For the folks that don't know, 2 years ago, and this again, I'm gonna say it a lot this episode. Just bear with me. I will be getting into the whole story in further or future episodes. But about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 2 Christmases ago, my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and they had found a couple tumors in, I'm gonna say, maybe June. I think they found, yeah, it must have been May, June-ish. So they found a couple tumors. So she got rushed in for brain surgery. So that was, man, that was incredibly scary. My mom is one of those people that I have. I mean, for so long it was just me and her, right? Like, um, she was a single parent for 6 years, and worked so hard and worked 3 jobs, to put food on the table and shoes on my feet, and to have somebody that's that close to you, especially, like, I've often said that my mom is one of my best friends, and I know it sounds so cliche to say, like, everybody says, "Wow, my mom's my best friend," but meanwhile they're, bitching about her on Facebook or, excuse me, Instagram or Twitter or whatever. But legitimately, like, in the last couple years, like, me and my mom have gotten so close. So that was a real tough situation for me, and I'm so very thankful that I've had the support of my family, my girlfriend. I had a lot of good people around me that were definitely supporting me and my dad and my siblings and everything like that. So that was crucial for me to get through, but it honestly took me longer than I'd like to admit to get over that. This woman was released. She had her brain exposed to the world, and just over 12 hours later, she's at home, you know, looking at a baby because my cousin had brought over his newborn. Just taking that sip there, that cool sip. You got to keep that whistle wet for talking to you fine folks. But yeah, so she was at home like just over 12 hours later or something crazy like that. It was honestly boggling, but so we kind of dealt with that, and after excuse me, after that whole thing, like it was just, it seemed like it was one thing after the other, and um just trying to, I tried to maintain the same energy that I had about the podcast, and just it seemed like I couldn't force myself to get up and talk, and honestly, I didn't really feel like I had much to say. I was so busy processing everything that was going on in life, and um, it just took a minute for me to get back to where I needed to be. So, and that's part of the whole mental health thing. I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go through it alone, because I don't know how well I would have handled it on my own. And like obviously there's parts of it that you have to go through alone, and I'm sure anybody that knows anything about mental health is there's parts. I shouldn't say that. Anybody that knows what it's like to deal with poor mental health knows that there's parts of it that you have to go through alone, but there's a big part of it is having people around you to support. And it's so cliche to hear and to say that, um, there's always so many people around you. Well, yeah, that's true, but how many people can relate? How many people can understand? How many people can actually give you advice or tips on how to feel better, or even better yet, just sit there and commiserate with you? Like, when I was going through the worst bouts of my mental health, the best thing that I found was that I didn't have somebody that was trying to fix me. Because that's the last thing you want. Like, you're fucked up in the head. You know it. But you don't want somebody that's just going to sit there and try and fix you. You want somebody that, honestly, that's just going to commiserate with you a little bit. And, they might tell you that things are going to be okay. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. But I feel like, at least with my journey with mental health, I knew things were going to be okay. But I wasn't patient enough to see them through. Like, now I'm not saying that I had suicidal thoughts or I was thinking about taking my own life. I never got to that point. Well, I did at some point, but that's another podcast. But I never got. I guess what I'm saying is, everybody, when you hear that there's mental health or somebody's struggling with mental health, everybody says, "Well, I can fix you. Let's fix this. Let's do this. Try this. Do this. Get on that. Try running. Try doing this. Try doing it all." And honestly, like, sometimes you just need somebody to sit there and listen. Somebody that isn't gonna try and relate. Maybe some people need somebody who's just gonna sit there and say, "Yeah, man, it sucks going through that, but you know, we'll get through it together." Even just knowing that there's somebody there that's willing to help you see it through. That's so powerful, for at least for me it was, right? Um so anyway, yeah, after that whole ordeal, then um I kind of I took some time to process that, and then we had a move going on, and then work really got busy, and it got to be so much on my plate. And now work is busy, but my personal life outside of that is kind of slowed down. um we had an absolutely stellar hunting trip. which is one thing that I do want to say about this podcast is I will be throwing in some more hunting stuff. I feel like that is a big part of who I am. And when I remember when I started, I said that I was going to try and keep the hunting side of it off it. But you know what? It's a huge part of who I am. So why would I try and cover that up or hide it? So, yeah, we went on this unbelievable week-long elk hunting trip in the Duck Mountains. It was so much fun. We were not lucky enough to tag an elk. However, we were lucky enough, both of us, me and Dwayne, were both able to get a white-tailed deer down. We both got bucks. He got a beautiful little velvet buck, and I was able to slap together a little 4x4. Super heavy though. It was crazy. Once the meat is all eaten and the the antlers are hung up on the wall, it's crazy how you look back on the photos and you can relive so much of it. Like, I remember I can look at a photo and be like, oh yeah, it was raining right here. And I remember, running my hand along the side of this plant and feeling how moist it was. Or, and sorry for anybody that hates that word moist, but deal with it. That's how daddy do. And that's daddy. And that's me. But yeah, so we were, you look at these photos and they bring back such specific times and specific memories. It's just, it's a weird feeling almost. Looking back at a photo and being like, oh, I remember that. Like, I remember the surroundings of it. You might not remember exactly when that picture was taken, but like, you remember the south wind and the smell of rain, or that, the way the sun was hitting that ridge, or, watching a deer come through a cut. You're like, oh yeah, okay, well, I remember that cut because that's where that buck walked out. And when he was walking out, you could see his breath. Hunters have this incredible ability to pick up the most minute details of these oddly specific moments, right? Like, I could tell you the 20 minutes before of my first deer, my last deer that I just took, every animal I've taken, and I can tell you exactly, the moments before I pulled the trigger, or excuse me. I can tell you, crazy things. Like, I remember when I shot my caribou, the whole situation of me and my dad switching spots and reloading the rifle, and like, I remember the spent cartridge. So on a bolt action rifle, when you pull the bolt back, the cartridge, the spent casing, will often not fly out, but it'll fling out. Like, it'll do a couple flips and land in the dirt. And I remember the way that brass was spinning in the air. It was a cloudy day, and I remember the way that brass was spinning in the air, and it was just magnificent against the kind of the gloomy clouds. And then, as I turn my focus back to this animal that I'm preparing to shoot, I click the safety off and pull the trigger, and the immediate moments after, how the animal dropped and went stiff right away, and the celebration. But we have a terrible, as hunters, we have this great memory before and this great memory after, but it's the moments during where it all seems to flash by. Like, so when I shot my last buck, he was at 40 yards, just under 40 yards. And, man, I punched the trigger and I pulled the shot. I'll be very honest. It was a poor shot, and it was, in my head, it was way poorer the moment I shot the arrow. Looking back on it, it was actually a well-placed shot. I didn't really have much of an option due to where his shoulder was and everything like that, and I made a really good shot, and whatever, it all worked out. But it's just, for me, it's crazy how how do you even? For me, it's crazy how that moment, the moment of shot and impact, is both so ingrained in your memory, but so blurry. Dwayne tells the story and he remembers a very different side of it than I do. I remember being an emotional wreck when I shot my last deer, because I was so scared that I made a poor shot. Right, I've strived so long to be an ethical hunter and only take shots that I know I could kill. I passed up last year. I passed up 2 bucks that I probably could have shot, but I was not 100% confident that I could kill them ethically, so I passed them up. And it always sucks doing that in that moment, because your mind is going through the motions of, okay, meat in the freezer, yeah, nice buck, yeah, like you almost start. At least for me, I've always panicked, right? I've not, no, panic's not the right word. I've always almost prepared. Like, as I'm pulling back, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to gut him like this. And I overthink it. And then I take a bad shot. And then I'm sitting there like, holy lightning, what is happening? And then I'm stressing and worried and whatever. So, yeah, for me, it's just so baffling that hunters have that ability. But those clutch moments just seem to breeze by. But that's pressure, right? Like that's pressure to perform. We're really going for full circle here. That's one thing that I've always struggled with though in my life, has been the pressure to perform, and more so the pressure to keep people proud and not disappoint, right? Like, I was a goalie for a lot of years, and when you decide at some point in your life that you want to be a goalie, you really shoot yourself in the foot. And I tell that to everybody. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed being a goalie, but you shoot yourself in the foot. You sign up for a life of misery. When you win a game, very rarely does anybody recognize the goalie. Like, he was hardly out there. Like, I didn't really see him. The team played well. However, when the team makes a mistake, when 5 guys on the ice, the 3 forwards and 2 defensemen get beat, okay, when they get beat, and the puck makes it past you, the 6th defender out there, the red light goes on, sunburns your damn neck, and people friggin' boo you. Right? Like, who the fuck thought that was fair? What fucking idiot decided that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to toss myself ahead of an 8-ounce rubber disc going 100 kilometer an hour, 100 mile an hour sometimes, and, just stop it for fun, because that's what I want to do. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's absolutely wild. Why anybody would even want to be a goalie? Like, why? Why does that sound like something that I want to do? It really doesn't. But also really, like, what? No, actually, this is one of the things that I do know about, because I lived it. Like, why anybody would want to be a goalie? It just, you're signing up for a life of misery. But also, the thing is, it's the high risk, high reward that we get addicted to, right? Like, yeah, sure, it's high risk that you might play a bad game and get booed. Again, excuse me, I'm a little burpy today. I gotta stop drinking beers while I'm doing this, I think. But damn, they're tasty, huh? Nothing like a beer at the end of the day. Maybe you got your sweats on, maybe you got your PJs on. Maybe you're still in work clothes, because maybe you're still working while you're listening to this. Maybe it's whatever morning it is that you're getting this in your ear holes. Maybe you're drinking coffee. But I'll tell you what, a beer at the end of the day, that's the kind of way that, I like to end my day. What was I talking about? Oh, goalies. Yeah. High risk, high reward, lots of pressure. But you know what? One of the things that I will say that I think it trains you really well for is later in life, when you start feeling like job pressure or family pressure to perform, to do certain things. Like, I feel like you just get really good at, and maybe it's any athlete. You know, when you play in high stakes positions or high stakes sports where, um, you know, championships are on the line or situations like that, like, yeah, the pressure is crazy, but also it shapes you into something that is far better. You know, like what's the, you know, only a fire can refine steel or whatever the saying is. You know, like what is the saying? Not it's gonna bother me. I really gotta start coming prepared for. You know what the problem is? This podcast is so hard to prepare for because I never know what I'm gonna talk about. Like, you know, some people have notes. Like I remember when we started Flatlands, we had notes on what we wanted to talk about, but we never like we follow them. But then we found well, let's just wing it. It's easier just to wing it. But I think that's fun because you guys gotta follow my thought process and my absolutely my abomination of a thought process and what it is. Um, Now what else were we doing? Hmm. Anyways, that hunt was a blast. Had so much fun. It's a little bittersweet for me. Obviously, you know, I had two deer that I was chasing from last year that I would have really liked to be able to put an arrow in, but now I don't get the opportunity, which it's okay. I mean, it's not that I'm not happy with my deer, but I think every hunter will tell you like when they're chasing a specific animal and they tag something else, like you feel like you're happy, but you just feel slightly it just feels slightly unfulfilling. If that makes sense. Like it's almost like going to Tim's to get a Boston cream and they only have sour cream glazed. Like you'll take it, but it's not what you wanted. Like you're happy about it, you'll tolerate it, but it's like would have been nice to get that friggin' Boston cream. And that's my inner fat kid coming out. And you know, Daddy likes them Boston cream. That little freaking. I don't even know what kind of cream's in there. Is it Bavarian? I think it's called. Maybe. I have to look that up. Maybe put that in the notes. Um, it's so freaking good. Like honestly, if they made, why don't they make? Here's a proposition: make Timbits with the cream inside of them. You can't tell me that they can't do that. If they're putting listen, these MFers are putting half a damn Oreo. They're extracting, because extruding would be pushing it through something, or maybe pulling it out of something. Anyway, no, that's extracting. Regardless, they're extracting the cream from Oreos. Okay, they're doing unholy things to Oreos. I don't know if they're scraping them in the back. I don't know if they got maybe a little X-Acto knife, and they're just cutting that freaking little cream out, melting it down and putting it in a freaking donut. But they're delicious. But what I'm saying is, they're doing some sadistic shit to Oreos. If you think about it, what Tim's Hortons is doing to Oreos could be on Criminal Minds. Or like the first 48, which really isn't 48 hours. That's not my joke. That's a joke from Theo Vaughn. But shout out to that guy. It's just, why can't they put friggin' whatever the Boston cream is? Take the Boston out. Get the heck out of here. Get that shit out of here. Get the Boston out. Put the cream in the frickin' Timbit. Do it, Tim's. Friggin' do it. And watch Daddy roll in and eat about 24 of them. You watch Daddy pile them into his frickin' gullet. And then be so sad about himself. Just wallow in guilt. Watch for that special on Netflix, boy. My 600-pound obsession, yeah, it's frickin' just cream Timbits. Because we don't like Boston. Fuck our Red Sox. Which I really shouldn't say, because like Boston isn't that mostly Irish? You got Irish blood in me somewheres. That's that red beard. Oh, that's another thing new. I grew a freaking beard, dog. I've been going for like 5 months. I grew a damn beard, boy. I mean, it's not stellar, but I mean, better than. I'm trying to think. Who would it be better than? Better than Jonathan Taves in the playoffs, for sure. I'd say it's probably better than 88% of the Asian community around here. 100% of the native community, and that's not racial. As Dwayne would say, that's natural. Whew. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all it's better than. But yeah, I grew it. I got that. Let's see if you can hear it. Can you hear this? Can you hear that? Yeah. That Velcro sound, yeah, that's the drip off Daddy's neck beard, boy. Looking fly. Fly. Man. Like to say I traveled somewhere, didn't do anything wild like that. Went on a hike one time. That was pretty neat. Went on lots of hikes while we were hunting. We were walking like something like average of like 6 to 12K a day. It's freaking nuts. I lost like 15 pounds out there. And like I ate well. I was well fed. My body was nutrient up. I wasn't running that FNX or that Phoenix Fit, which I should have been. That Replenish or whatever they call it. And check those boys out. And you heard the ad at the beginning of the podcast. But yeah, I wasn't running that. Yeah, I lost like freaking 15 pounds, man. You want to lose weight? Screw going to the gym, man. Just go on an elk hunt. Go on any kind of hunt. Unless you're doing like that bullshit heated blind sitting there waiting for deer to come around. That's not even freaking hunting. Like I know somebody, and I'll remain nameless, but this guy sits he's got his cabin like 30 feet in the air. Heated, and he's got trails that are cut all which way. So he can go through like any window in his little cabin and shoot out the window to kill deer. Like that's not even hunting. I gotta get off this topic. It's gonna freaking piss me off because it freaking grinds my gears. And I'm really trying to not be an angry person, but good grief, man! Like you just freaking do something. Walk for the dang thing. Earn it. You know, Steven Rinella talks about the suck in hunting all the time. How, you know, in every good hunting trip, in order to achieve a trophy or meet, there has to be a little bit of suck. There has to be. You know, it can't just be easy. Some people get lucky. You know, i.e. my first buck. I mean, I was in first sit, 20 minutes in. First sit of the year, 20 minutes in. And, wouch! Buck down, boy. BD, boy, buck down. But then some people just sit in this freaking stand. They ruin the image for every hunter. I think we're all fat, lazy, some biatches. Which, I mean, most of us are. But maybe not the lazy part, just fat. Some of us. Dwayne is going to kill me for saying that because that guy's at the gym literally 25-8. Does he have a job? I should ask him. I should make sure he still is doing frick, I gotta stop hitting my mic. Still doing jobs and stuff. You know, he's still doing that work and getting paid and stuff because he's at the gym all the damn time. But honestly, good for him though. Like he's that boy's yoked. Boy, straight shred city, huh? And that's no homo, because Papa Bear don't swing like that. Built a deck for my cousin Johnny. That was fun. That was a good time. Man, I'm trying to. It's crazy when you're not really paying attention to what you've been doing. It's crazy how you can't remember what the hell you've been doing. Hmm. What else is new, really? Oh, I built a shed for my girlfriend's brother, so that's kind of neat. That's pretty fun. Been really building things lately. Man, that's one thing that I enjoy is honestly just like I don't know, like the little work, like building a deck or a shed or little renos. I really enjoy that kind of thing. I often wish that I would have maybe taken it farther and started a business. Not that I'm not too old to start, but definitely in a good career right now. So, oof. Honestly, just been trying to. I spent a lot of time the last 6 months just honestly trying to better myself, get myself into a better spot, and just be a better me. Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, I would expect that this podcast is going to take a little bit of a hit because I'm not posting as frequently, but like the fact that it's something I needed to do. Like I said before, I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for needing to take a minute and needing to just step away for a second. I think so often, at least for me. Sorry, I'm going to do a couple adjustments here. Hold on. Just trying to get everything a little better set up. I think for I'm not liking this setup right now. I'll be very honest with you. I mean, I kind of slapped it together, but I need to get the desk in. I need to get the studio in quotations, get it all dialed in and set up. So, I think if we had more people that took time to better themselves, we'd have a lot more happier, healthier people in this world. Like I've honestly just tried to focus on one thing at a time. Because I notice for me that when I try and fix all of the things, I just can't. I straight up cannot. And like I don't know, I get so damn overwhelmed that I can't fix everything at once. And then the overwhelm just caused me to get more overwhelmed, and then I'm more overwhelmed about being stressed because I can't fix everything. And honestly, it's such a bad spiral. At least for me, it is. So yeah, I started off honestly with something so simple as just getting more sleep at night. Something as simple as getting, hell, maybe it's brushing your teeth every night or every morning. One thing that I found really helped was just straight up routine. And I mean, I work a job where I don't really have a lot of routine, where I can't, because I never know when I'm home, right? Like some days I'm home at 3:30, some days I'm home at 9:30, and I just like I there's no structure to it, right? So what I found in the mornings is if I can wake up like 45 minutes early, I can do. This is gonna sound like a brag, and it is. I do a little beard care routine. I got the oils, I got the balm, I do a little comb through. I wash my face, brush my teeth. And when I started doing that, I noticed I was more awake, more alert, ready for work. And then you get through your work day, and then something as simple as coming home, and the thing that I'm working on now is just showering right when I get home. I got a bad tendency of sitting on the couch for half an hour or whatever, cooking supper, and then sitting on the couch, and then all of a sudden it's I'm killing time on my phone, and then it's 9:30 and I got to shower and I got to get ready for bed, and then I shower, and then all of a sudden I'm feeling hyped again, and I'm like, holy hell, I got to try and wind down. I got a problem doing it. So that's the next little thing that I'm working on, and I feel like, I mean, they're not big things in life, they're really not, but they're things that they give you that control, right? I should try and find the clip and bring it up where the Marine talks about you want to change the world, you make your bed in the morning. You accomplish a task. So I've noticed that when I'm slipping into that, starting to go down that rabbit hole of where my mental health might be slipping, I really got to buckle myself down and get back to the routine, finding my routine, just accomplishing tasks throughout my day. Because if I'm not accomplishing those tasks, then what am I doing, right? If I don't give myself a task to accomplish, I can't go forward. As Theo always says, onward. Another great guy to listen to for motivation to do this kind of thing is Jocko Willink. He talks lots about how just doing the simple things right and to the best of your ability. And some days the best of your ability is piss poor. Like I have days where I'm not a great boyfriend. I have days where I'm not a great son, where I'm not a great employee. I have days where I come into work and my attitude's shit. If I got a bullshit job that's coming up, I come in and I'm it's like I'm preparing for it. I'm overnight. I don't sleep well because I'm stressed about it, maybe, or I just know it's gonna be shitty, or it's a contractor, right? Or if I got to do something for somebody and I'm not happy about it, then I come into it with a bad attitude, and then it's impossible to try and it's impossible to do your best when you're already setting yourself up for failure. Like that's one thing that I've learned is that I have to go into everything with the mentality of, hey, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna rock it here. And it sounds cocky to say, but I honestly I say it in my head 1,000 times a day. I'm a stud. I got this. I can do this. You know, you almost compete with yourself every day, right? Like I'm competing with myself to be a better me every day, right? Like, man, that guy yesterday, he sucked. Especially when I'm higher on the mountain, right? When my mental health is good, I can say that. I can look at myself in the mirror and go, man, that yesterday guy, he sucked. Straight up terrible. I'm gonna beat him tomorrow. And then you do it the next day, and you do it the next day. And as you're climbing that mountain, it gets a little bit easier. But the key is that balance, right? You can't just do that in your slow times or in your bad times because you're just gonna beat yourself up. When you're down in that deep dark valley and you're struggling to stay afloat, your head is bobbing underwater, but you're able to catch a breath here and there. Those are the moments where you have to look at yourself and go, you know what, today I did well. You got to pat yourself on the back. And at some point you start cresting out of that valley, you start kind of climbing. That's where you tell yourself, all right, I'm gonna be better now. I'm gonna do better. And slowly, as you go up and down the hills and over the hilltops and the great success, and you start sliding back down, but you'll notice that the bottoms aren't so deep, but the highs are higher, right? Like your lows aren't so low. You surround yourself with people that can push you in that. I've said this before, and Dwayne's gonna shoot me for saying this, but I'm so thankful for him. When I went into the Four Winds house, which might be a whole nother episode talking about my experience there. When I went in, Dwayne was kind of the only one of my friends that stuck around. I had to axe some people. I had to cut some people out of my life because they were toxic for me. They weren't putting me in a spot where I needed to be. So I moved on. Onward, son. Right? But he stuck around. He's the one that checked in. He still wanted to hang out with me. Man, my life did a whole 180 when I started realizing that the people that I'm surrounding myself with are directly influencing the state that I'm in. When I started surrounding myself with positive people that wanted to see me succeed, that's when things started turning around. But I also had to be in a place to accept that, and I wasn't there before I went in. Now I'm at a place where if you don't come at me with that energy, with that, hey, let's help each other succeed and strive and push for something greater, I don't want it. I don't have time in my life for that. And I know it sounds shallow. It sounds real shitty. But at the end of the day, like, what do you have to lose by surrounding yourself with positive people? I know this episode's getting a little heavy, but I wanted this episode to be more of a check-in than anything. But these are the things that are on my mind today. And that's what this podcast is about. Me speaking my mind. So I think I mentioned this before, but I got a website up and running. Excuse me one second. I got myself a little website up and running. So if you guys... So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running everything through the website. Links to the podcast will be up there. We're working on getting some video stuff for the podcast. That'll be going up there. I got a blog that'll be starting up there. I got one post up there, but we're working on some more. We got... yeah, it's basically just going to be stuff that's on my mind. But it's also a place for people to, you as listeners, if you guys want to hear something or ask me a question or, just say hello from wherever you're at, you guys can head on over. You can either send me a DM. I got the Instagram page up and running, so that is the Deep Freeze 20, all one word, lowercase. You can send me an email to thedeepfreeze20@gmail.com, and the 20 is obviously just for the year we started. Because we're in our first year. We're growing. We are growing. And you can also, you can send me an email. You could drop in whatever. And if you do make your way over to the website, I'll drop that link right away. There is a submit part of it, so you can submit questions, submit content, whatever you want to do. You can send it. There's a spot for your name, your email, your phone address, subject. Type your message, hit submit. It sends right to me. There's nothing else that you got to do. There's no fancy postage. You ain't got to pay for a stamp. You don't got to seal it on an envelope. So you guys can head on over to www.thedeepfreeze20.wixsite, WIXSITE, all lowercase, one word, .com. You'll come up on the blog. There's a little sign up if you want the blast, I guess they call it. There is, just a whole bunch of stuff that's on there. It'll be basically the home of my content going forward. So I'm super excited for that to be up and running. Super excited for you guys to check that out. So that'll be more, I guess that'll just be more, what I'm trying to bring to you guys is the more real me, and that'll be hunting especially, because that is a big part of who I am. I'll have to take on sports, some pop culture, where we're at in the world. Just some other things. Just kind of whatever content I'm putting out, it'll be posted on there. Links to YouTube will be on there once that's up and running. I am working on some stuff right now. We're kind of in post-production, I guess they would say, or editing or whatever. So we're working on some stuff like that. I got some series that I'm going to be working on starting next year. So I'll drop the little teasers now. So we're going to be working on this. Last year I picked up golf, trying to take it seriously. So we're going to be working on a little bit of a road to, I think I call it the road to 90. So shooting a 90. Me and my good buddy Trav, we got a little bit of a friendly game going. So far, the series is tied 1-1. We're actually going for the tiebreaker on Saturday. We're going to be golfing Quarry Oaks out in, I guess it's in Brokery. Yeah, it's the Brokery. Anyway, we're going to be tying that up. So we're going to be doing some vlog style stuff with that. We're going to be taking you through kind of some hunting prep, my gear layout. That's all going to be coming to the YouTube here in the next little while. The golf will be starting next year. I'm going to be going through my my gear setup. Give a review on my bow. I got tons of footage with my bow, so I'm excited to start sharing some of that stuff. We got tons of content from the elk trip, so make sure you head on over, check out Flatlands Feeling Foul on Instagram. Make sure you check out Bushmaster 25 for Dwayne. You can find myself T-Freeze 30. T-Freeze 30. Let me double check that. 30 or 31. I really got to start remembering these. Like, how do I not remember my own damn T-Freeze 31, TeeFreeze 31 on Instagram. That's my personal, and then the Deep Freeze 20 would be my other one. Check out Dwayne and Flatlands. Oh, another little info. So our good buddies over at the Two Idiots podcast has hooked up with Manscaped. Now this is an advertisement, but it's not an ad for myself. So here's what I want you to do. I want every one of you, I don't care if you just order the frickin' body wash or a pair of Ginch. I want everybody to go to, they are a local podcast based out of Steinbach, Manitoba. Got some family on that podcast, as everybody knows that Randy's my cousin. So I want you guys to head on over to manscaped.com, buy something. Use the promo code IDIOTS. You're going to get 20% off. These boys have grinded to get there. And I'm super, super stoked for them to be there now. But they need some support to lock up that long-term dealio with Manscaped. And Manscaped says, hey, listen, we'll give you the goods. It's like a bit of a dirty drug deal for you nerds, bro. They're basically saying like, hey, listen, come over here. We'll give you the goods. Just get 10 more people. And this may sound like a pyramid scheme, but it's not. These are legitimate business boys. LBB. Yeah, LBB, boy. Legitimate business boys. So, yeah, head on over to Manscaped. Check what out they got. They'll keep your nerds happy. They got stuff for... It's like running like 7,000 RPM, dude. But it won't nick your nuts. How wild is that? You can shave your undercarriage. You can get those little freaking, that body dangle. Get all the hair off that body dangle. And never nick them. Have you ever nicked your nuts? I have before. Horror scene. Something straight out of Saw. Filled the whole damn bathtub up. I had to go get blood transfusions, dude. It was wild. I had to put that little glue. Oh, it was a freaking nightmare, man. But thanks to Manscaped and the Two Idiots, that won't be happening anymore. I ordered some stuff. Make sure you go check them out. Support a local podcast. Support the buddies. They support us. They support me. They support Dwayne. So make sure you show them some love and go follow them. You can follow them at the Two Idiots podcast, at King Reginald. And let me look this up real quick so I don't butcher it, because that's what we do here. We do things not in correct order. We don't have notes prepared. Being prepared for something? Nah, homie, we don't do that. You can find Reginald at King Reginald 19. And you can find Randy at The Dude 77, which is a badass name. Straight up OG thuggin'. And then, of course, the 2A's podcast. Yeah, thanks for coming back. Sorry things got a little deep, but also sorry, I'm not sorry. Thanks for the love, everybody. Quick little anecdote here. I just want to say thank you to all my faithful and loyal supporters. I'm so excited to be back with a brand new energy, brand new vibes, brand new website, brand new IG. Boy, we doing it new. 2020's hasn't been a great year. Let's be honest. It's been a bit of a shit show, but we're making the best of it. We are doing the damn thing. and we're going to finish strong because that is what we do.